Hey there and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. And what can I say, Mother Nature must have seen me yesterday finishing the crochet version of my Balaclava hoodie. So she sent me some new snow and it's 7:30 in the morning. I'm out here in the cold to show it to you. A few weeks ago I posted my nuked version of the Balaclava hoodie, the Nudie, and one of the first questions actually was, can you make it in crochet? And of course you can. And as with the nuked version, you have all the freedom to choose whatever crochet pattern you want to use. Here in my case, I chose the alpine stitch, and quite fittingly, because today it really is very alpine cold and alpine snowy. So this works perfectly, and this was then also my inspiration. But here's my version. It has a few super cool features, and I just wanted to make it fun, because why not go a little bit more funky and textured with the alpine stitch. And it also shows that you can basically use every pattern and then just recreate it in the technique that you like. So if you want to make the nuked version, the nudie, go ahead. If you prefer the all crochet version, then I will show you in this tutorial how to do it. Now it does have some special features, of course, like the double-sided neck piece. On one side it's dark and on the other side it's light. It's with the half double crochet slip stitch technique that I showed you in the previous video, and of course I had to incorporate it here as well. So you can basically wear it just like the other nudie, inside out, or you can also flip it around to have like a beautiful neck border, and everything else works the same. So let's be quick. Here we go. You put it on, you have the beautiful hood, and you also have the inner part that I can't put out because my fingers are frozen. Here we go again. As you can see, it works exactly the same. And with a double-sided neck piece, you have a fun color contrast here in the front. I don't see anything because my glasses are like all foggy now. So are you ready to make yourself the crochet version of the Balaclava hoodie, the Crudie? So let's go. Okay, so let's go from nudie to crudie. And what you need to do that is, of course, first some yarn. I'm going to choose the three colors, as you can see here, the darker blue, the lighter blue, and the white, because I want to do a multicolored hood for this crudie. And I'm going to use again the Penguin Pingo First 6. It's the chunky version of the Pingo First, and they say you would need a 6mm hook. But since we are doing it in crochet and I don't want to have it super stiff, I'm going to size up my hook size, and I'm going to use a 7mm hook to make the crudie. Then, of course, some scissors as always, and a yarn needle to sew in the yarn ends. And what would be also helpful to have around is either the crudie or something with the dimensions and the sizes that would fit to your head. Basically, you can also use a hoodie that you already have and then take this as a reference. We mainly need this in terms of when to finish the hood at the top and when to add a rounding. And of course I'm going to make a rounding here as well. And for the ribbing on the side of the hood and also the neck piece, I'm going to make something a little bit different, but I will show you, of course. So first up, I'm going to use my leftover yarn that I had from the nudie. And just like we did it with the nuked version, I'm going to start with the hood. And for that, I'm going to take the dark blue and I'm going to wrap the yarn around my head 3 times. So I have about the size 3 times of my neck. Looks a little bit like this. So this is then also where I place my slip knot in, because of course I'm going to start with an I-cord, and I'm going to make the I-cord for as long as it has to be until it basically fits my neck. You can use the t-shirt that you're wearing, for example, as a reference. So this kind of a fit would be excellent. And let's see with how many I-cord stitches I end up with. So for the I-cord, you have the yarn on the side and then the other yarn strand that goes to your yarn ball, and then you take the side yarn from the top and then the yarn that goes to your yarn ball from the back, and then just take that last loop through the 2 loops on your hook, and like this you continue for as long as you have to go until you have the size of your neck. And maybe as a little tip, try to make the I-cord a bit more loose. And I don't really know, the bigger the hook, the easier the yarn just slips off. Like that. But okay. So I'll see you in a bit once I know how many I-cord stitches I need for my neck. So again, I'm going with 54, just like for my nudie. So if you want to use the same measurements, please do so. And it's still super stretchy and everything, so in the end it will of course stretch out a little bit. And now we can start with our first round, and our first round goes as follows. We turn our work, and then in the first stitch right here we are going to place a fake double crochet or a stacked single crochet. And we are also going to incorporate our yarn end that we still have left, and we can already put that on top of our work. And now we go in the first stitch right here, yarn over and pull it through, and first just make a single crochet. And once you have that, you go in the front loop right here, yarn over, pull the yarn through. Now you have 2 loops on your hook again, yarn over and pull through 2, and this then stands for our first double crochet. And from there, the first round is really easy. We just make double crochets all along right until the end. So you yarn over, go into the next stitch, make sure that your yarn end is right on top of your work, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and this we do all along. And I'll meet you when I'm at the end of this first round. Here we go. I'm at the end of the round, and the next 2 rows are going to be the repeats that will go throughout our hood part, and which also means that we are going to change every second round the color. And for that, I'm going to take out my last stitch again and just open it up. And then I will grab my next color. In that case, it's going to be the light blue. I just place it over my hook. And I'm also going to take my blue color, the first blue color, with me. And now I will take both of those loops through the 2 loops on my hook to finish this last double crochet right here. Now we can cut the dark blue. And now what I'm going to do is I just release the hook and then take my dark blue loop right here, and I will just pull it through because I feel like this gives it a little bit more hold or fixation in the stitches up here. And now we can turn, and I'm also going to take the light blue yarn end, the dark blue yarn end, all to me, because now we start again with single crochets all along, but we are going to make them in our front loops only, not in under both of them, not in the back loop, in the front loop. And we can start already. We don't have to like chain one or anything. We just go under the first front loop right here, and then we place all our yarn ends on top of each other, and then we yarn over and pull through and make a single crochet. We can always drag a little bit on the yarn ends to push them in, and from there we continue. Sorry, we don't yarn over, of course, because we have the single crochets. So we go in the front loop only, right here, and then yarn over, pull it through, and single crochet. And then the next single crochet, and then the next single crochet. I know in the beginning this might look a little bit difficult to do, but like that we can already take in all the yarn ends, so we don't have to bother about them anymore. Which is of course awesome, and the reason for going into the front loop only for the single crochet is that this is basically our back side and this is the front side, and I think it looks prettier afterwards when we have like this vertical line right here. So it's really a more visual thing, but I think it's important. So I'll meet you at the end. We go with single crochets all along in the front loop, and if you reach like the end of your yarn ends, you can just simply cut them, and then you will also see the front loops easier. And I'll meet you at the end of this next round. So now I'm at the end. Now we can turn. And now we start our next round all with double crochets, and the beginning is always the same. We go back into our last stitch, pull the yarn through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, single crochet, and then we go into the front bar again, yarn over, pull it through, and yarn over and pull through to start with a fake double crochet. And now we are going to alternate between front post double crochets and regular double crochets, and the next one is already a front post double crochet. So we yarn over, then you go down to the next double crochet from the previous round, put the yarn over your hook, pull it through, pull everything up right until you reach the height where your single crochets were, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to create this front post double crochet, and later on this will give us this beautiful alpine stitch texture. Then we basically skip the next stitch right here because we have now the front post double crochet right on top of it. So we just take the next one, and as I mentioned before, we are alternating, so the next one goes up in the single crochet, And then we have the next front post double crochet. So you yarn over, go down, pull the yarn through, pull it up right until you reach the height of your single crochets, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through to create your next alpine shell or whatever you want to call it. And this is how we continue all along. So always one double crochet in the single crochet, and the next one is then a front post double crochet. And I'll meet you when I'm at the end. Make sure to make those front post double crochets very loose so that it stays fluffy and not so tight, and have fun. So I'm at the end, and when there are only 2 double crochets left, we just make both of them in the top part of our single crochet, because then it just doesn't add up. And again, we are going to start changing the color again. So we can cut our light blue, and then I'm continuing with the white. And we do it like we did it before. You take the new yarn over your hook, and then also take the previous yarn end, and then we pull both of them through, and then we take the previous color, the loop, and just pull it through, and then we can just turn and start again, just like we did it with the lighter blue, by making a single crochet in the front loop of each of the stitches. And again, I'm going to take all my yarn ends with me, so I don't have to bother about them afterwards. So take them over your work, and then place the first stitch right here. And don't worry if you see like something like this. In the end, we are going to go with a border all around it, so our ribbing will be here, so this part will not be visible afterwards, so it's no problem at all. And from there we can continue, and the round after that is going to be the same like we just had it with the light blue, and this is basically the repeat that we are going to do all along right until we reach the rounding of the hood. And I'm at the end, so now I can turn. Again, we are going to start with a fake double crochet. So first you make a single crochet, and then we go into the front loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, fake double crochet. And then we are always going to now alternate, so we are not going down in the same front post double crochet. So the next one is a regular double crochet, and then we can go down again with front post double crochet, and again pull it up, and like this you get this alternating effect. And this is basically it, the 2 round repeat for the alpine stitch. So we just continue all along right until we reach the height of our hood, and I will meet you once I'm at the point to add the rounding of the head. And until then, have fun, happy crocheting, and see you in a bit. So here's where I am. I'm not completely done with the hood part, because I will do just one round of the, or it's 2 rounds because it's a 2-round repeat of the lighter blue and then the white to finish it off. But for those 2 following parts, I will also then make decreases to get the rounding of the hood. And first I'm going to mark myself where to place the decreases, and I just do it in the middle. So I put both parts together, and I will just take a piece of yarn with another color, and I will just go under 2 of the front post double crochets, and I will just place the yarn here so that I know that when I come back that I will decrease here, and we will decrease this next row by crocheting 3 single crochets together. So now I pick my lighter blue yarn, and I will just quickly go back in this last stitch right here and take the blue color through, and then I will meet you once I'm here at the part that I marked to show you the decreases. And here we are. So as I mentioned before, we do a triple decrease. So we go into the next stitch, grab the yarn, then go to the next, grab the yarn, pull it through, and one last time until you have 4 loops on the hook, and then you yarn over and pull through all 4 of them. To decrease it, I can take my little helper out, and from there we can just continue with our pattern, and I will meet you once I'm back from the other side with the front post double crochets and the regular double crochets. And here we are. Here was my triple decrease, and what I will do now is to make a front post double crochet in here, and then without finishing it, make another front post double crochet in this 3rd stitch from here. So it's again a decrease, and this is how it goes. So you yarn over and do as if you would do the front post double crochet, then go through just the first 2 loops, then yarn over, go down and bring it up, and now we have 2 front post double crochets, yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook to create this sort of a double decrease with the front post double crochets. And from there we can then continue with our pattern with the double crochets. And here's our next front post. And I will meet you once I'm back at that point. If you want to, we can also again put in our helper. Of course, you can use a stitch marker. That's absolutely fine. I just didn't have any here, so I just took a yarn in a color that I would definitely not miss. And I will meet you once I'm back here from the other side, this time then with the white yarn. See you! And here we are, and we do the exact same thing like we did it 2 rounds before. We are going to make a triple decrease. So we have 3 single crochets together all around this marked part, and again we go in the stitch, then to the next, and one more to have 4 stitches on the hook, yarn over. And what you also can do is to pull it a little bit tight and all together, to like really push those stitches towards each other, and from there we continue, and I'll meet you when I'm on the return way with the double crochets. And here we are. So what we did here with 2 front post double crochets, we are now going to do with the next 3 stitches, including that center double crochet. But don't worry, it sounds more complicated than it actually is. So you yarn over, and first we are going to pick up our first front post double crochet and not finish it. Then yarn over, go into the spot where we would have our next regular double crochet and don't finish it, and then yarn over and go in between where you would then place the next front post double crochet. And now we are going to just yarn over and go through all of those loops to decrease here once more. And when you then also turn your piece, you will see that you will get like a little rounding instead of having it like as a peak up there. And I think like this it works pretty nice. And from there we can then just continue with our pattern all along. And I'll meet you at the end of this round, because then we are going to close the hood in the top so that we can start with the sides and of course the bottom part of this crochet balaclava hoodie. So here we are. You can now bring your work up here and make sure that the working yarn is basically in the center, because we are now going to crochet this upper part together right until about here, and this last part we are going to decrease. So to do that, we go in our first back loop here from the front, and then grab the back loop here, or the first loop from the side where we were, yarn over, and then pull through loop by loop, and like this we continue. Here's the first back loop, then we go from the top into the first loop from the other side, yarn over and pull through both of the and pull through all of the loops on your hook, and again. So like this we don't have to count, we just go loop by loop and stitch by stitch. To close the top. And now I just stop here. I will cut the yarn. I will push it out a little bit. We have to make sure to keep this loop alive. And now I'm taking my yarn needle and now I will just go along those stitches that I haven't done yet. Just always in those inner stitches. Where was I here? And then I'm going to hold the loop and then drag on my yarn. And then I will also take the yarn needle through my loop and then just drag on it. And like that we knot it together and we also create even more of a rounding on top, just like that. Here you can see it. I think it looks beautiful. And then we can simply take the yarn and push it to the inside. Turn your work. And now I will just sew it in on the inside. And this shall do already. So we can then cut the yarn. As always, I'm leaving a little bit of yarn there. I don't know, maybe it's suspicious, but this is how I usually do. And like that, our hood part is now closed. And you can see it from the top, how it looks. Looks very icy. A few days ago we had snow and ice, so this would have been the perfect hood for myself. And now what we are going to do is to make the front seam or the rib, or call it how you want to. I will not do a typical ribbing there. I will do a pattern that like goes the exact opposite way of this upper part here, mainly because I think here we worked horizontally, and when we now work vertically along, this will always help to keep the shape a little bit, and that's why I'm going to do it that way. And I will do the entire side with the dark blue, and for that I'm going to grab it and start with a slip knot, and then I will go down here where the I-cord ended, and I will just pull that through, because what we are going to do now is to make half double crochet slip stitches all along for a few rounds, so we get like a vertical ribbing effect. And we first make a single crochet to connect it, and now we will go basically stitch by stitch on the side, which can be a little bit difficult. We always have here the mix of half double crochets, and we always have here the mix of double crochets and single crochets. We will do 2 half double crochet slip stitches when we had a double crochet, and 1 half double crochet slip stitch when we had a single crochet. And it doesn't really matter where you place it. Sometimes it's quite obvious where to place it. For example, right here where you have like this little knot, this would be a good place, or here's another one, here's another one. So you just go along. In the end you will barely see it if there was something, and then we can just start. So for the half double crochet slip stitch, you yarn over, and then I will go right here in our I-cord again, yarn over, pull the yarn through, and instead of yarning over and pulling through one of those, we are just going through the 2 loops on the hook already. I'll show it again. Yarn over, and then we go in the next stitch, pull the yarn through, and then pull that last loop through the 2 loops on your hook. Again. Now we have like a color change here. Let's see where I put it. Maybe somewhere in here would be good. 3 loops, and then I pull that last loop through the 2 loops on my hook. And here we go with the next. Yarn over and pull it through, and then through the 2 loops on the hook. Here's then where I mentioned before, 3 loops, and then we just pull that last loop through. In the end, this part here will then move to the front to create our pattern, and when we go back, we are going to work in those behind loops only, and I will meet you right before I start turning, and I will just go along. And my last half double crochet slip stitch goes right back into my I-cord round, and now we can turn our work, because now we are only going to work in these front loops here, and that will also push the top part of our half double crochet slip stitches to the front or to the outside of our hoodie, and we don't have to chain anything. I don't know why people always chain. You just yarn over and then go into the next, or go into the first front loop and just continue all along. So the chain one is absolutely useless. I don't know why people still do that, and in the end you will also then have a very wonky border, so I skip that part completely and just continue with my half double crochet slip stitches, and you do as many rounds as you wish. I will probably do until I have at least 3 front rows, but we'll see. And I'll meet you once I have it. Have fun. Enjoy those half double crochet slip stitches, because we are going to make quite a lot more of them for the lower part. So keep on crocheting. Bye. So here we go. I finished my border, and doesn't this look super cool and super neat? I will have then 3 rows of V-stitches, and I think this should be enough. I also put it on my head just to see how it fits and if I would need a wider border. But for now, I will just keep it like this. And we can now start by crocheting the hood part together, so we can later on go in the round. And to do that, we are going to lay it like, here's the opening for the hat. By the way, I also absolutely love the inside. I think it looks, the other side of the pattern looks really, really beautiful. Maybe I show it. So at least the inside looks good, because sometimes you have patterns where the inside looks a bit messy. And I'm going to turn it, because now I will take out my loop and I will go in the I-cord element somewhere here, and I will just pull the loop through to connect it, because now we are going along with slip stitches, crocheting these 2 parts together. So we go into the next stitch. Here on the side, it's probably a little bit tight. And then I will just go through and slip stitch. And then here's my next stitch. Let's see. And here's another one. And then we can continue. Just all the way. Always under 2 loops on each side. And it doesn't have to be I mean, if you somehow missed one, it's okay. Here's a little bit of a funny part. I will just take those two. And then where's the next one? Somewhere here. And then here on the other side. And I think there's only the last one left. Before we then are back at the I-cord. And I will just go into the first I-cord element and slip stitch again, because now I'm going to cut the yarn, and I will yarn over and pull the yarn through to lock it, because like that, because we are not continuing on this side, for the lower part we are going to start in the back, mainly because it won't be 100% seamless due to the fact that how we then add now the lower part. So I will start in the back, but our front is completely done. And like that, we can now start with the neck part. And as I mentioned before, it will be all half double crochet slip stitches, and we are also going to make it with two colors. So the outside is in the dark blue and the inside is with the light blue. So a little challenge, and we are going to start by grabbing the dark blue yarn, and I will just figure out where the back of my work is. And then again, because of the I-cord, we now have stitches in the bottom, and we are also going to just in the back loop. And first we are going to attach the yarn, because now we are going to make a first round of half double crochet foundation stitches, just so that we get the height for our neck piece, and after that it will be all half double crochet slip stitches. And to do the foundation stitches, we yarn over, then we go into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through one, yarn over, pull through the 3 loops on your hook, and then again we yarn over, then we go into our bottom stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, pull through just one, and yarn over and pull through all 3. And this we do for as long as we want our neck piece to be, to create the height. And I'll meet you at the end to then switch to the light blue color and to show you how to go back and how to connect also to our main piece. So I'll see you in a little bit, right until I have the height of my neck piece. So here we go. I now made 25 half double crochet foundation stitches, and it goes quite high, which is something I love. If you want to have it shorter, then you can always do it shorter, and then we turn our work. But first, let's go back to that last stitch right here, and we are just going to take out this last one, and let me just make it again, and we stop it right here with the 3 loops, because now we are going to add our second color. So we take the yarn through the 3 loops just like that, and now we turn, because now we are again working in our side loop, and we are also going to take the dark blue color with us. So the first thing we have to do is to yarn over, and then we go into our side loop on the side, so we don't work into our top loops right here, and then we yarn over, and then we have the 3 loops, and then we pull the 3 loops through. And now we are going to take all the other yarn strands that we have here and go in the next side loop, put the yarn ends on top, and then half double crochet slip stitch, then again yarn over, go into the next side loop, and half double crochet slip stitch, and so on. I know it can be sometimes tricky to see where the side loop is. You have to watch out a little bit, but it's usually right after our top loop, like right here on the side. After a few of those, you will always know which one the right side loop is. And again, in the side loop, and half double crochet slip stitch, and now I will also cut my lighter blue yarn end so that it doesn't bug me at all. It's tricky even just without it, so we just take this out so we only have to worry about one extra yarn. And like that, we can always carry both colors with us, which is of course awesome. Otherwise you would have to cut it. And the full effect you will see after a few rounds, because it's actually really, really pretty. But first, let's just go along with my 25 stitches. And now we are at the end of our round, and the last stitch we will do again with the light blue, and just make a half double crochet slip stitch, and then I will go into the next stitch here on my I-cord and just take the dark blue and slip stitch to connect it, and I will then go with a slip stitch into the next stitch, and then we can turn again, because from there we can then start easily with our next round. And for that we yarn over and go into the next side stitch with a half double crochet slip stitch, and now we yarn over. Now we also take our blue yarn up and incorporate it, and also make sure to drag on the light blue yarn a little bit so we can push these stitches here at the beginning of the round a little bit together. And like that we go all along, this time in the dark blue. So whenever we go down, it's in the dark blue. Whenever we go up, it's in the light blue. And I'll meet you at the end to show you how to switch the color again. And then we go back, and then you will also see the effect a little bit better. And this was the last one, or the second to last one, because the very last stitch I always do in this side loop right here that came from the turning in the previous round. And I will finish the stitch with the second color. So in the end, I will get like a very straight border. And now we can turn. And I will go in the first side loop without chaining one, because we don't need this. And then we take our side loops back again, keeping our dark blue over our work so we can incorporate it. And now we also have a better contrast to see the stitches. And here's our last one. Again, we finish it with the blue, and then we go in our next loop here on the side. We leave the light blue behind and just slip stitch with the dark blue, and then we go in the next stitch with a slip stitch, and then we turn to start the next round. And here you can also see the effect. You mainly see the dark color and the light blue is just peeking through in between, and when you turn it you have the complete opposite. I absolutely love this effect, and in the end you will have something stretchy, something very brioche knitting, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. And from there I will just let you do your thing and finish this by then going back and forth. The first stitch is regular, and then we take up our light blue yarn again and always do our half double crochet slip stitches, and then we will also push a little bit on the other colored yarn. And this is how we continue right until the end, and this is where I'll meet you back. So I made it all the way through the neck piece. Here's how it looks. One side is dark and the other one is bright. And as you can see, I only have one stitch left here. So what I'm going to do is to turn my work upside down. Or inside out. To crochet the last part together. And I finished here with the blue and with the light blue. I just took it through, and what I will do now is to take my working yarn to the center, and now I will go basically from side to side. For that I will first pick up the next loop here that I normally would have used to continue the round, and then I will go to the other side, to the beginning basically, and I will take my first loop here, and now I will take my working yarn and pull it through stitch by stitch and slip stitch to get like the same pattern up here, but not in the elevated way like we had it here with the half double crochet slip stitch. And now we go one stitch at a time from each side and do the same thing. So we go through the loops and slip stitch. So we just go all along. And in the end, it of course will be a little bit tricky to get in all those last loops. Maybe I will just take this here and make a slip stitch, and then I can cut the light blue, and I think I can also cut the dark blue, and then I will just pull that through to close it. Let's see, where do I have? This is also how then the inside looks like. I mean, I told you this is not going to be like 100% seamless, but this is also why I put it in the end of the piece. Here it is. Because now we are going to incorporate the yarn ends. Here was a little bit of the dark blue, and I will just simply go underneath a few stitches. And then I will change the side and go through some of them here. And then I will switch the side and go the other way. And I think like this, it should be enough for this side. So we can cut it. And then we go to this part here. Here we have 2 yarn ends left, and I will just make a double or even a triple knot to secure it. And then I will just incorporate those yarn ends and we can cut it. So this was it. You can flip it around. It is a bit bulky, but that's mainly also because of the chunky yarn, and the crochet balaclava is done. So in the end, when you wear it and then pull that part in, you will have the light blue on the inside. I think it looks super cool. This is like, again, one of those pieces that I could see so many people wearing it on the streets. I think it's very urban fashion, and I absolutely love this. It's fun, and I hope you will have fun making such a beautiful piece as well, including the beautiful bottom. You can, of course, just wear it like this, like with a beautiful collar. Look how awesome this looks. I mean, so much structure, so much texture. I'm absolutely amazed and can't wait to wear it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will have fun making this super cool cruddy balaclava hoodie head helmet, you name it. And if you make one, make sure to make it funky. I know this is very Gen X, but I'm Gen X, so I can say funky because I really wanted to have it funky with a funky pattern, funky colors, that chunky yarn, because why not? Crochet should be fun. And this is also what I wish you. Have fun, happy crocheting, and bye! Greetings from Winter Wonderland. And I'm getting dizzy and falling because it's so icy and snowy. And believe it or not, being out here filming, now I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning, looking all messy, perfectly prepared to start working on this Friday. It's actually Valentine's Day, so if I don't say it on the channel, happy belated Valentine's Day to all of you. This is my gift. You will get it like 2 weeks later, but so what? And now I'm going home for a cup of tea, and then the weekend is near. And interestingly, my head is not cold anymore. So these Balaclava hoodies are really awesome for the cold winter weather. And I'm giving you another look of the beautiful winter scene. But now I go. Bye.